Grain Standard Hold Cleaning, a guide for bulk carrier operators. Of all the cleanliness standards a bulk carrier's holds might need to meet, Grain Standard is the least forgiving. Operators preparing a vessel for grain loading need to understand exactly what Grain Standard means in practice, not just as a line in a charter party, but as a physical condition a surveyor will actually check. Here's a practical breakdown for technical managers and operators preparing a vessel for grain loading, wherever the port call happens to be. What Grain Standard actually means. Grain Standard is a defined cleanliness level, not a general description. Holds must be free of loose rust scale, paint flakes, and residue from any previous cargo. Completely dry, with no standing water or damp patches in corners, bilges, or under frames. Odor-free, including no lingering smell from cleaning chemicals. Free of insect or rodent evidence, a strict requirement given grain status as a foodstuff cargo. The test surveyors commonly use is simple but unforgiving, running a light-colored glove across bulkheads, frames, and the tank top. Any discoloration on the glove is grounds for rejection, regardless of how clean the hold looks by eye. Why Grain Standard is stricter than swept or shovel clean. Charter parties use several cleanliness terms, and it's worth being precise about the difference. Shovel clean, only cargo that's easily accessible needs to be removed, residue can remain in less accessible areas. Swept clean, a more thorough sweep, but still short of full washing. Grain Standard, the highest routine standard in dry bulk trade, requiring the hold to be washed, rinsed, and fully dried, with every corner and frame checked. Confusing these terms, or assuming clean means Grain Standard by default, is one of the most common sources of disputes between charterers and owners at load port. What determines whether you'll need it? 2 questions decide the scope of work. 1. What was the previous cargo? Coal, petcoke, and other staining cargoes almost always require chemical washing before Grain Standard is achievable. A clean prior cargo, like steel products, may only need a lighter wash and thorough dry out. 2. What does the charter party specify? Some fixtures state Grain Standard explicitly, others simply say clean and dry in accordance with cargo requirements, which in practice usually means Grain Standard once the receiver is confirmed. When in doubt, confirm directly with the charterer before the vessel arrives, not after the surveyor is on deck. The Grain Standard process, step by step. A properly run Grain Standard clean typically follows this sequence. 1. Dry sweep, removal of loose cargo residue, dunnage, and lashing material. 2. Wash down, high-pressure seawater washing of all surfaces, including underdeck frames and hopper areas. 3. Chemical treatment, if required, targeted application for staining cargoes like coal or petcoke, followed by a full rinse. 4. Freshwater rinse, removes salt deposits that would otherwise corrode surfaces and contaminate the next cargo. 5. Drying and ventilation, holds must be fully dry before inspection. Damp corners are one of the most common causes of a failed first attempt. 6. Inspection and documentation, a walk-down covering every zone, followed by a confirmation of work with photographic evidence. Skipping or rushing steps 4 and 5 is the most frequent reason a hold fails on first inspection and needs re-cleaning, which costs both time and money in a port with limited spare hours. Timing considerations worth planning around. Whether the job happens at anchorage or alongside berth changes the logistics. Anchorage attendance needs equipment and chemicals mobilized by launch in advance, with no opportunity to fetch something forgotten. If the previous cargo requires chemical cleaning, build in extra time. Coal to grain transitions in particular routinely take longer than operators expect when the port stay was planned around a simple sweep. The bottom line. Grain Standard isn't a formality, it's a specific, checkable condition that either passes or fails on inspection. Confirming the requirement early, understanding what the previous cargo demands, and working with a team that documents each step properly are what keep a Grain Standard clean from becoming a source of delay. InnerHull provides Grain Standard hold cleaning across Greece, Turkey, Singapore, Brazil, and the UAE, using the same procedures and reporting format applied in every market, so the standard your holds meet is the same one they'll meet anywhere else we operate. Request a quote for grain standard cleaning. Call us at +30 210 400 4470 or send us an email at info@innerhull.com.